We're in properties and disorders of the hair and the scalp. This is lecture 1 of a week-long course. Test is going to be at the end of the 2 lectures. Keep in mind that we're only covering the first half of this chapter in level 2 because the second half of the chapter was covered in level 1. Okay, some of the objectives we're going to go over: identify and distinguish the different structures of the hair root, identify and distinguish the 3 layers of the hair shaft, identify and explain the 3 types of side bonds of the cortex, 3 phases of the hair growth cycle. We're going to identify and define 7 types of hair loss, where the rest of this we did during the level 1 course. And these objectives we covered in level 1 as well. Okay, why study properties and disorders of the hair and the scalp? For one, barbers need to know how products and chemicals affect the structure of the hair. We also need to know how to keep a client's hair and scalp in a healthy condition and how to differentiate between normal and abnormal conditions. And also, barbers need to be able to perform a scalp and hair analysis before performing a service. This chapter will get you more in depth with the hair, its structure, its growth cycle, and of course the disorders and analysis that we previously covered. All right, let's move on. The structure of the hair. Hair. First off, trichology, which the root word trichos is a Greek origin, which means hair, and of course, ology is the study of. So trichology is the study of hair. All right. Hair is an appendage of the skin. We talked about appendages in the previous chapter: hair, skin, nails. Hair is a slender, thread-like outgrowth of the skin and scalp, composed chiefly of the protein keratin. You have 2 parts. It's the root and the hair shaft. The hair root is the portion of the hair beneath the skin surface enclosed within the follicle, and the hair shaft is the portion of the hair extending above or beyond the skin surface. Structures of the hair root consist of your follicle, bulb, dermal papilla, erector pili muscle, and sebaceous glands. Okay, so your hair follicle is a tube-like depression or pocket in the skin of our scalp that contains the hair root. The hair follicles are all over the body with the exception of the palms of the hand and the soles of the feet. Your hair bulb is a thickened club-shaped structure that forms the lower part of the hair root. The lower part of the hair bulb is hollow and it fits over and covers the dermal papilla. Okay, what is the dermal papilla? The dermal papilla fits into the hair bulb. It's a small cone-like shaped elevation at the base of the hair follicle. It consists of capillaries responsible for supplying oxygen and nutrients to the follicle epidermal tissue. The epidermal tissue surrounds the papilla and forms the hair bulb. Blood and nerve supply is vital to growth regeneration of the hair. Nourishment reaches the hair bulb through the papilla, and a healthy papilla results in new hair growth. Now, your erector pili is minute. It's an involuntary muscle fiber. It's attached to the base of the hair follicle. Fear or cold causes contraction, and it makes the hair stand up straight, or what you would call goosebumps. The eyelash and eyebrow hairs lack these erector pili muscles. And, well, sebaceous glands, I'll just throw that in as an added bonus. They're small sac-like structures with ducts attached to each hair follicle. They secrete sebum to give the hair its luster and pliability. Diet, stress, and hormones and drugs affect sebum production. So last chapter we talked about your sebaceous and your pseudophorus glands. Sebaceous glands are your oil, pseudophorus are your sweat. Okay. What is the structure of the hair shaft? The three layers are its cuticle, cortex, and medulla. Okay. The hair cuticle is the outermost layer of the hair. It consists of single overlapping layer of transparent cells. Scale-like cells point away from the scalp toward the hair ends. The cuticle is the hair's primary defense against damage. Certain chemical solutions soften and raise the scales to allow absorption by the cortex. Now, what is the cortex? The cortex is the middle layer of the hair shaft. It is a protein core that contains melanin pigment. About 90% of the total hair weight comes from the cortex, and its protein structure provides strength, elasticity, and natural color to the hair. The changes in the hair during chemical services occur within the cortex. Example, if you're doing a relaxer, the product want to penetrate through the cuticle to get to the hair cortex where the chemical change will take place. Your medulla is your innermost layer of the hair and is composed of round cells. Although mature male beard hair contains a medulla, this layer of the hair may be absent in very fine and naturally blonde hair. Okay. This is the structure of the hair. To the left, you can see the terms we discussed earlier. To the right, you can see the three layers of the hair shaft. Please study and govern yourself accordingly. Okay, composition of the hair. Composition is in reference to its makeup. Hair is approximately 90% protein. It's composed of protein that grows from cells originating within the hair follicle. Keratinization is a maturation of cells as they fill with keratin, lose nuclei, and die. The hair shaft is a non-living fiber composed of keratinized protein. Okay. All right. Human hair, I'm sorry. The protein of hair is made up of chemical units called amino acids. Those amino acids are made of the elements carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur, which is also an acronym or a mnemonic for CONS, COHNS. Human hair consists of 51% carbon, 21% oxygen, 6% hydrogen, and 17% nitrogen, 5% sulfur. Okay. Now, amino acids are joined end to end by chemical bonds known as peptide or end bonds. So if you look at figure 10.5 and 10.6, it goes over the polypeptide chains and the side bonds between the chains. But in those things, you can see the end bonds. So a polypeptide chain is a long chain of amino acids linked by peptide bonds. Now, if you have a polypeptide chain, it may intertwine to create a coil of protein, and this is called a helix. Now, okay, side bonds. The polypeptide chains can be cross-linked by side bonds. There are three types of side bonds: disulfide bonds, hydrogen bonds or H bonds, and salt bonds. The disulfide bonds join sulfur atoms of two cysteine amino acids to create one cysteine. Okay, listen to this. Your hydrogen bonds are physical side bonds. They're easily broken by water or heat. Individual H bonds are weak but numerous, accounts for about 1/3 of the hair's overall strength, and they add body to the hair. They help keep parallel chains of polypeptides together. Salt bonds are your side bonds that reacts to changes in the pH, accounts for another 1/3 of the hair's total strength. They're easily broken by strong acidic or alkaline solutions. Then you got your disulfide bonds. They are covalent bonds that join sulfur atoms of two neighboring cysteine amino acids to create cysteine. Stronger than hydrogen or salt bonds, but they are fewer in number. Account for 1/3 of the hair's total strength. They are not broken by heat or water. They require chemical solutions to change or restructure. They are also known as sulfur bonds, S bonds, and cysteine bonds. Okay. So this is what I want you to do. This is very important. You need to study page 251. We have 2 tables and 2 figures. Take a look at those and get familiar with the side bonds, the end bonds, the cones, and the breakdown in percentage, and you should be fine. Also, if you look at 252 and 253 figures 10.7 and 10.8, it actually gives a breakdown of the change in the hair's cortex during wet setting. Wet setting is also called roller setting. And figure 10.8 gives a breakdown of the changes in the cortex during permanent waving. It's very informative. So you need to look at it because, of course, wet setting is just a physical change, but in permanent waving, you have a physical and a chemical change. So you want to familiarize yourself with these bonds, side, ends, the breakdown, the importance of it, the 3 layers of the hair shaft, the elements that is in the hair, the percentages, things of that nature.